Hello and welcome to the Your Only Doc podcast. I am Dr. Shashank. Today, we are diving into hemophagocytic lymphohistiocytosis, HLH, the cytokine storm you cannot afford to miss. Let's dive in. Picture this: a young child in the emergency room with persistent fever, enlarged liver and spleen, skin bruises, and dangerously low blood counts. The team runs test after test. Sepsis? Malignancy? Autoimmune disease. But what if the real enemy is the immune system itself, not underreacting, but going into a full-blown out-of-control storm? That is HLH. Stay with me, this is one of the most intense syndromes you will ever encounter. Too busy? Here's your summary on HLH. Hemophagocytic lymphohistiocytosis is a rare but life-threatening syndrome of extreme immune activation. The body's natural killer cells and cytotoxic T lymphocytes fail to regulate themselves. Instead of eliminating infected or malignant cells in a controlled manner, they cause widespread inflammation and damage. There are two types of HLH. Primary HLH, which is genetic and often seen in infants or young children, and secondary HLH, which can happen at any age, typically triggered by infections, malignancies, or autoimmune conditions. And the diagnostic criteria from the HLH 2004 protocol require 5 of the following 8 findings: fever, splenomegaly, cytopenias affecting at least 2 of the 3 cell lines, hypertriglyceridemia, specifically above 265 milligrams per deciliter, or hypofibrinogenemia under 150 milligrams per deciliter, hemophagocytosis, visible in bone marrow, spleen, or lymph nodes, ferritin more than 500 nanograms per milliliter, often over 10,000 in HLH, decreased or absent natural killer cell activity, elevated soluble interleukin-2 receptor, also called soluble CD25, above 2,400 units per milliliter. While these criteria help with diagnosis, early clinical suspicion is essential. Ferritin more than 10,000 should immediately raise red flags. Management requires urgency. The HLH 94 and HLH 2004 protocols form the basis of treatment. The cornerstone drugs include etoposide, dexamethasone, and sometimes cyclosporin. In refractory or genetic HLH, hematopoietic stem cell transplantation may be the only curative option. Secondary HLH, especially when driven by infection or malignancy, requires targeted treatment of the trigger along with immunosuppressive therapy. Close monitoring is key. Electrolytes, liver function, triglycerides, and cytopenias must be tracked daily in severe cases. Delay in treatment can be fatal. Now, let's go deeper into the advanced landscape of HLH. HLH sits at the crossroads of immunology, oncology, and infectious diseases. What makes it uniquely dangerous is not its complexity, but how it mimics everything else while silently progressing. That is why HLH is often diagnosed late and outcomes are poor unless rapidly recognized. Recent years have seen critical updates in both diagnosis and treatment strategies. First, the HLH 2004 criteria, though widely used, are not foolproof. They were never intended for adult patients, nor for patients with cancer or rheumatologic diseases. As a result, alternative tools like the H-score have gained traction, especially in adults. The H-score uses variables such as fever, organomegaly, triglycerides, ferritin, fibrinogen, cytopenias, and underlying immunosuppression to give a probability score for HLH. It is not perfect, but in cases of diagnostic uncertainty, it provides a structured framework. Second, we now recognize hyperferritinemia alone is not enough. While ferritin over 10,000 is highly suggestive, it is not specific. Sepsis, liver failure, and systemic inflammation can all cause extreme ferritin levels. What matters is how fast it is rising and what else accompanies it, especially pancytopenia, coagulopathy, and organ dysfunction. Therapeutically, the standard has evolved. While the HLH 94 protocol is still used globally, it may not be ideal in adults or in malignancy-associated HLH. Etoposide, though effective, has significant toxicity. In adults with underlying malignancies, some centers are shifting towards interleukin-directed therapy, particularly anakinra, which blocks interleukin-1, and emapalumab, which blocks interferon gamma. In COVID-associated HLH-like syndromes, high-dose steroids and interleukin-6 inhibitors like tocilizumab have been employed with mixed results. These HLH-like cytokine storms highlight the challenge of defining HLH narrowly. Many inflammatory syndromes may look like HLH, but require tailored therapies. Finally, the biggest challenge in HLH is not just treatment, it is deciding when to start it. Because the therapy is toxic and the disease overlaps with sepsis and malignancy, many physicians delay. But every hour lost increases the risk of multi-organ failure. That is why some tertiary centers now have HLH response teams similar to stroke or code sepsis teams to evaluate and act immediately. I have also published a case report, HLH secondary to rickettsial infection. Link is in the description. Before we close, here are 3 key takeaways from today's episode. Number 1, HLH is not rare in practice. It is just rarely diagnosed on time. Ferritin more than 10,000, unexplained cytopenias, and persistent fever should make you think HLH. Number 2, the cornerstone of treatment is early immunosuppression with dexamethasone and etoposide, but therapy must be customized to the trigger, whether that is infection, malignancy, or genetic predisposition. Number 3, use tools like the 8 score in adult patients and do not wait for all 8 criteria. If you suspect HLH, treat it like an emergency. On our next episode, we will dive into antiphospholipid syndrome. Make sure to like and follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube to stay updated. And hey, if you enjoyed this, come say hi. You can find me on Instagram, drop a message, let me know you're listening, and share what you think. I would love to hear from you.